How's it going, Monsignor?
It's going very well. We took last week off.
Yes, thank God.
And part of it was because you weren't here, part of it was half the staff wasn't here, and the other part is the people that were here were still in comas. So, but we're back, and it feels good to be back.
Yes, it was a great opportunity to have some time off, but I love work, so I'm glad to be back too. But Holy Week went really well. I think the Chrism Mass was gorgeous, and the Triduum was really wonderful, well attended, right?
Yes, yes.
Easter too?
Well, really, our numbers were up across the board. I think we had the largest turnout for Holy Thursday. Good Friday was equally well attended, and the vigil is well attended if you have a lot of people coming into the church.
Yeah.
Because it is an extra long Mass.
It is extra long, but it's also extra awesome. And if
It's
people knew
beautiful.
how awesome it was, I think they would come.
Hopefully next year
Yeah.
you'll try coming to the vigil.
And maybe we can shorten it a little.
We'll talk about that.
Okay. Anyway, Easter was good. So, but coming off of Holy Week, there was, or in the midst of Holy Week and Passover, there was some more religiously targeted violence.
In Sri Lanka, 2 Catholic churches, 1 evangelical church, and several hotels were bombed by suicide bombers. Again, using religion as a banner to attack other religious people is, as in the words of Pope Francis, an atrocity and a great sin before God. It mars the face of God. And so, you know, that began really Easter week. It happened Easter Sunday in the country of Sri Lanka. And then on the last day of Passover, which is also the Sabbath, the Shabbat synagogue in Southern California was attacked by a dweeb. I mean, I'm sorry, you know, there was a vet in the congregation who on the radio said he didn't know how to hold the gun, he didn't know how to aim the gun, which is a blessing because he still killed 1 person. But then when the vet yelled at him, he panicked. And then when the police stopped him, he came out with his hand. I mean, what is wrong with me? And please don't tell me it's mental illness. It's not mental illness. This kid should have gotten smacked a long time ago, and maybe he wouldn't be playing with guns.
Well, yeah, again, thank God he was inept, but there is a serious issue in our world with hatred and a lack of regard for human life. It's really messed up. Tonight we have the Children of Abraham interfaith conversation regarding the Holocaust. And it's a perfect night. I mean, when we say, well, what can we do? How can we combat this, ignorance and intolerance and disregard for one another? Come together and build community. And this Children of Abraham thing that we do is one way of doing that. So, and the topic is particularly apropos. An article came out yesterday that said that New Jersey has the 3rd highest incident rate of anti-Semitic events in the nation, and that's disgusting. So we really need to come together as a community and combat this by building relationships.
But what is going through people's minds now? Even last night at the University of North Carolina, a former student takes a gun and starts shooting people. I think 2 are dead, 5 are wounded.
I don't remember the numbers.
The numbers are still a little sketchy. But again, it has to be something that is not using, now that I don't believe is religious motivated. So there's violence all over, and it's easy to maybe make scapegoats of various groups or various peoples, but the reality is people are not being raised with a respect for human life. I mean,
That's what it comes down to.
and I'm sorry, people are going to be all upset, but it's respect for human life from womb to tomb. If you don't have it, people are going to just think that they can do whatever they want. And I'm sorry, this is the result. This is the result.
Yeah. So, but we have to combat it, and the
And
way
we
to do
combat
that
it
is with,
by prayer, by coming together, by understanding different religious points of view and different worldviews, but working together to, to make sure that people understand. The problem is you know who's going to show up.
to preaching to the choir, everybody who
We're
already
preaching to the
cares.
choir because now, tonight, the 7th grade of Temple Sherry Emmett will be conducting a prayer service in remembrance of the Holocaust. May 1st is remembrance of the Shoah among our Jewish brothers and sisters. So they'll be present. But as far as, let's say, Catholic youth, there won't be anybody from our congregation there.
Unless you bring them. It's great.
It's an invitation.
Yes.
And it's an invitation to stop complaining on the couch or at the kitchen table and do something that is productive and positive. So please come out and hear what our faith traditions teach and how they view the Shoah, the Holocaust, and how we can work for a better world.
So it's 6:45 at Temple Sherry Emmett in
Manalapan on Craig Road.
Yeah, come on out. We'll pray together, we'll build fellowship, and we'll hear each other's points of view, which is super important. Today is also St. Joseph the Worker.
This is, March 19th is St. Joseph, the husband of Mary.
Yep.
That's a solemnity. This is really an optional memorial. It was established by Pius XII in the 50s as a way of combating the rise of socialism and communism that made May 1st the Day of the Worker, to remind us of the dignity of work, the dignity of the worker, not to be abused or exploited, but to share in the goods and the productivity of their hands, and to remind them the church is on their side.
Yes. And the church has many encyclicals about the dignity of work, and really, I mean, it should be fulfilling, sustaining. It should be something that you can raise your family on. It should, be productive to society, but also that workers have to be able to support their families in a living wage, with a living wage, and not have to have 4-8 jobs to keep their families afloat. So a dignified wage, a living wage, a just wage is also important, and something that the church values and teaches.
And I think it's very appropriate that on May 1st we're beginning 2 new ministries for the study of the Word of God,
Yes,
Bible
we are.
studies, and both at the same time, a morning and an evening. The one is Unlocking the Mystery. We've done this before, but this is a follow-up. That'll be at 10 to 11:30 and 7 to 9:30 in Dentisi Hall. And that is a video program put out by Ascension Press, and it is open to anyone who would like to participate. There is a study guide that needs to be kind of either purchased or downloaded, but it's a wonderful experience of beginning to discover how to use the Bible for faith and prayer. And then the other study
is the Recovery Life Bible Study, and this is a Bible that is specifically based in it has elements of 12-step program interwoven through it. We've been practicing a little. The little core team has had a few sessions, and it really is very, very edifying. It's not a study like delving into the meaning of the scriptures themselves. It's not an exegesis, but it is taking a look at the scriptures with the 12 steps in mind, so that you can kind of see that recovery of any kind is really a gift from God. And we see where the scriptures offer us these elements of recovery. It's really excellent. Whether you are an addict yourself, or you're dealing with somebody else's addiction, or dealing with other elements of personal recovery, you are welcome. There is a special recovery Bible that we use. We have some for loners, today, but it can be purchased, and we'll let you know how to purchase one if you don't already have one. But we've gotten quite a response from even other parishes, people who want to come to this.
Wonderful.
So it's going to be nice. And the fact that, and that's at 10 a.m. also in room 100, and then tonight at 7:30 also in room 100. So if you wanted to do both Bible studies, there are 2 sessions each day if you want to come twice. And then, but our recovery Bible study will be ongoing. It's not a, some week program, it's just forever.
No, I think Unlocking the Mystery is about 6 or 7 weeks, and then there's a small break, and then begins Bible Timeline, which we'll talk about a little later on as we get closer. So that begins today. Tomorrow, May 2nd, in the evening, we will have a presentation sponsored by our bereavement ministry, Coping with Grief. It will be a presentation on how grief affects us all, and in light of the present year, including even just the fear of the violence that has engulfed so many of the communities in our country and in our world, that has an impact on people. And so we hope that you'll be able to stop by and hear that. And of course, a shout out to all our young adults, the Young Adults in Faith, which is a Bible study group for young adults from 19 to 39. They will be meeting tonight also. Adoration begins at 6:30 in the chapel, ends at 7:15, and the Bible study begins immediately after and ends at 8:30.
And it's tomorrow night, and that's all Thursdays?
That's Thursdays.
Okay.
That's Thursdays.
First Holy Communions, we had our first round this past weekend.
And we survived it. It went well.
Yeah, and now they're at Mass, in case you didn't notice. Like, I went to the 5, so there weren't any of that. But depending on what Mass you go to, you might experience First Holy Communions for our parish. And why are we doing them at Mass, Monsignor?
Well, we're doing it at Mass for several reasons. First of all, it is at the celebration of the weekend Mass, the Sunday Mass, where the community gathers to celebrate the Eucharist. And that's when really children should be brought into communion at the table of the Lord. The church has requested that. They requested it maybe about 20 years ago, but it's taken a while to begin to implement it. Second, I think it's important that people who don't necessarily go to Mass on a regular basis, which is a lot of families that bring their children for the sacraments, need to be part of the worshiping community. They need to see how people worship, because they don't know how to worship. And I say that very clearly, because the reason why we made this move is after 9 years of celebrating First Holy Communions on special Masses on a special Saturday and having to yell at many of those Masses to keep people quiet, I couldn't take it anymore. So this is much nicer. The response has been beautiful. The children have been beautiful. They know what they're doing. Most of the parents are well behaved.
Good.
Okay, it's not so much, our families, but you know what? It's the relatives.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
But also, it's a great witness for our parish, because, we hear, we have, kids in religious education, but for the parish to be able to celebrate that with them and to be able to congratulate them, and, our faith is supposed to be personal but not private, so it's that communal celebration is really important.
And it's always good, because there are a lot of families who don't get to see First Holy Communion because the kids grow up.
Yeah.
And, grandchildren are living at a distance, so our elders are able to witness the First Holy Communion. So it's 4:30 Mass on Saturday, 11:30 Mass on Sunday morning, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
And if somebody takes your seat because, they're extra people, be nice. We want them to come back. So it's a really great opportunity for our parish to be very welcoming and encourage people who haven't been in regular attendance to be in regular attendance. Give them a reason to come back.
And also, I think there's a nice thing about people going up to families and saying congratulations, and commenting on how beautiful the children are and how well behaved. I think it's a win-win all over for both evangelization as well as the celebration of of the Eucharist.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, one more thing, this Saturday is Paint the Mall Purple, which is an addiction awareness thing. And so if you're at the mall this Saturday, there'll be lots of tables with different organizations and whatnot with their material there. Our addiction recovery ministry from the parish will also have a table there. So if you're at the mall on Saturday, stop by, say hi, get some literature if anybody needs it. But we'll be talking about what we're doing here at the parish as far as our ministry goes.
Well, the reality is all our families are touched by the scourge of addiction.
Sure.
And therefore, I think everybody could use the literature. And even if they themselves might not be struggling with addiction, they know someone in their family or in their circle of friends that are struggling. And it's always good to be able to give them some comfort, some assurance, and some information.
Yeah.
So if you're at the mall, and Saturday at the mall, I mean, it's almost like starting the day with orange juice. Stop by the table. I'm in a mood. I know I am.
He's in a mood. It's okay. We'll get through it. All right, I think that's it though, Monsignor.
Yes.
It's a busy week, a good week, and stop by, come and be part of things.
And I promise, my teeth won't be sharp.
No, he'll be fine by Sunday. God bless.
God bless.